Welcome. In this particular video, we'll be analyzing products with scientific notation. Let's take a look at our first example. Simplify the product 3.4 times 10 to the 6 times 6.67 times 10 to the 5th. Write the answer in scientific notation. First of all, let's remember what does it mean for a number to be written in scientific notation. A number is written in scientific notation if it's in the form n times 10 to the a, where n is a number between 1 and 10, 10 being excluded, and a is an integer. So in this case, what we're going to do is very simple. We're going to be rearranging the factors here. So we're going to keep the 3.14 as it is, and then we're going to use the commutative property, so we can swap these two values. So we can say that we have 3.4 times 6.67 times 10 to the 6, and then we bring the 10 to the 5th here as well. Now, since these two factors have the same base, what we're going to do, using the properties of exponents, is to add the exponents and to keep the base. Now, for these two factors, we're going to multiply them, so we're going to use a technology. In my case, I'm going to use Inspire. So I have 3.4 times 6.67, and 3.4 times 6.67, it's 22.678. So this is 22.678 times 10 to this particular exponent. So rewriting this one, we have 22.678 times 10 to the 11th power. However, notice that this particular value is not between 1 and 10. So to fix that, we're going to move the decimal point once in here. So we get 2.2678 times 10 to the first power, since we moved it once, and then times 10 to the 11th power. So rewriting it one more time, we get that this is 2.2678 times 10 to the sum of these two powers, so that gives you times 10 to the 12th power. So we can conclude, therefore, that the product 3.4 times 10 to the 6 times 6.67 times 10 to the 5th is equal to 2.2678 times 10 to the 12th. Let's see a couple more examples. Example 2, simplify the product 3.14 times 10 to the negative 4 times 4 times 10 to the 3rd. Write the answer in scientific notation. Again, what we're going to do here is to rearrange terms, to rearrange the factors. So we're going to rewrite this one as 3.14 times 4, because we're going to swap the order here, times 10 to the negative 4 times 10 to the 3rd. Here, we notice that since we are multiplying expressions with the same base, we're going to keep the base and add the exponents. And in this case, we're going to multiply the 3.14 by the 4. So we get that 4 times 4 is 16, carry 1 over, 4 times 1 is 4, plus 1, it's 5, and then 4 times 3 is 12. And we are going to move the decimal point twice here. So we get that this is 12.56 times 10 to this particular power. So we end up with 12.56 times 10 to the negative first power. However, notice that this number is still in other notation, that it's not scientific. Why? Because this number is not between 1 and 10. So we're going to move the decimal point once here, and we're going to get that this is 1.256 times 10 to the first times 10 to the negative 1. Again, this is 1.256 times, we're going to keep the bases, and we're going to add the exponents. So 1 plus negative 1, which happens to be 1.256 times 10 to the 0 power. So we can conclude the following. 3.14 times 10 to the negative 4 times 4 times 10 to the third, it's equal to 1.256 times 10 to the 0 power. Let's finalize this video with one more example. So example 3. Simplify the product 2 times 10 to the negative 5 times 1.43 times 10 to the negative 6. So again, we're going to use the commutative property here to rearrange our factors. So this becomes 2 times 1.43 times 10 to the negative 5 times 10 to the negative 6. Since we're multiplying two factors that have the same base, what we're going to do, we're going to keep the base and we're going to add the exponents. Now here we have 1.43 times 2. So it gives you 2 times 3 is 6, 2 times 4 is 8, 2 times 1 is 2. And then we're going to move the decimal point twice. So this is 2.86 times 10 to this particular power. So rewriting this one, we get 2.86 times 10. Because we are adding two negatives, we keep them as negatives and we just add their absolute value. So 5 plus 6 is 11. Now notice in this case we don't have to do anything else because our number is already in scientific notation, since this particular factor is already between 1 and 10. So in this video we were working with products with scientific notation. We hope you enjoy. Have a wonderful day.